And Brad, I hate saying it, we hurt your business for a little bit. Mm-hmm. You remember the mizzen and main? Yeah. His boys were cut for those mizzen and mains, and those were the first washable shirts.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We're like, oh, no, we just sold those boys those shirts. It says go dry clean. Brad's going to be pissed.
We're used to that. Well, welcome, George Streckfuss and Ryan Spurlock from the Brass Horn. And,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, appreciate you guys coming and joining us today for the table.
Very exciting.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So you guys are from Decatur, and we have a lot of Springfield listeners, so you got to talk to us a little bit. We got Brass Horn, the men's clothing store. Yep. You got Brass Horn 2, which is the women's clothing store, and then the Brass Horn kids store.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got 3 stores. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the history of the Brass Horn, George, and how you got in the clothing business.
One who started it. I started back in 1987 with a company called Backracks, which was here in Springfield also. Mm-hmm. I was living in Bloomington Normal. I grew up there and went to work there. Ended up getting transferred a couple times. Ended up down in Decatur. And
I think you were 10 years off there. You said the 88. I think 78.
Oh, 78. Right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
78,
just that small moment right there of trying to add up all these years. It gets a little behind.
Getting older.
78. Yeah. And then I went to work downtown at a men's and women's store in 1984. And that's when I first sold Brad some stuff.
Yes.
He was playing football in college, and I think there must have been a death in the family. And his mom and dad, who I knew, obviously from Peerless, brought him in, and he was a little different build at that time. He may have been about 275 pounds.
The suit was a little bigger than it is today. That's
and we didn't have the luxury of having a lot of the separates and stuff we had now. And we made it work, I guess, somehow.
Yeah,
but you
sure did.
You were much bigger at that time.
I still have that first pair of split-toe Allen Edmond lace-up shoes that you sold to me. And I remember like $250 back then. And I thought, that's a lot of money for a pair of shoes. And I remember you said, if you buy good shoes, you will have them the rest of your life. And I still do. 54 years old now.
Amazing.
Yeah, sage advice. Sage advice. Yeah. So I was downtown for until 1990, and there was just some things there, and decided to start my own store. Of course, I had 3 young children that were newborn up to like 6, and thought it was a good idea to just spend it all and just start a new thing. So I opened in Brentwood. Which is a strip center in the mall, just with the Kroger and stuff in Decatur.
I remember that. Was it by TCBY Yogurt, maybe?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. There was some good stuff.
It was closer to Baskin Robbins.
Baskin's, okay.
Yeah, well, Baskin's turned into TCBY.
Yes. Well, TCBY was closer to Old Country Buffet.
I forgot. Yeah, there was. Country Buffet, which was Strickfuss at the time. So when I first opened, it was really a specialty mall. Sure. It had a bunch of people who owned their own stores, and it was great. But maybe the best thing that ever happened was that Ryan's sister would drop him off. We'd have sidewalk sales, and so Ryan would end up picking up a couple of cheap things that were sort of cool and got him started, and then his mom would bring him in for homecoming. And I still remember it was that black sweater vest and a shirt and a tie.
I still have the picture.
Is that right?
Yeah. And
so you would have been in high school at that time?
Yes.
Yeah. So
well, I mean, I got my first shirt off of George when I was 12.
Oh,
gotcha.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. So and when he was at Backracks, and I think I ended up riding my bike up there because we lived on the north side of town.
Okay.
And, I bought a couple of shirts. I think they were like $6. I know that sounds crazy, but it was like mega sale.
Yeah.
And I think my 8th grade, I want to say my 8th grade school picture, I had one of my first Brass Horn shirts on.
Okay. Yep.
And then I know that from that point on, I was going to George for whenever life called for the clothes, right? And I knew I was going to go see him. And this girl asked me to homecoming. She was a senior, I was a sophomore, and she asked me.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to go, but she said, do you want to go? And I said, well, why not? And I told my mom, I got to go see George. And then she said something in jest about me having a job there. And he's like, yeah, show up next Saturday. And
cool.
That was
Is that
2 weeks before I turned 16.
Holy cow.
2 weeks before I turned 16.
And you've been there ever since.
In 1995, yeah. I went to Eastern for 2 years, and I would come back and work in the summer and in holiday times and stuff. But other than that, yes,
I've
been there.
That is awesome.
What was the draw?
Well, I just like the way that George treated me.
Yeah.
Because, when you're young and you come into a store like that, you're expecting to get brushed off like this guy's a peon, right? But George always was interested in you and took care of you. And, he just has that great ability to kind of foster you along.
Agreed.
And, now I'm a man. I've got my own money.
Yep.
And I remember how George took care of me, right? And I think that story can be told a million other times with other guys saying the same thing. It's like, this is the first place that somebody actually treated me how I feel like I need to be treated.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess I never even thought any other way that how somebody would be treated, know. So that's always been our model. And, if you think about fate in a sense, I moved downtown then after 3 years in Brentwood. And, I'm not a really great accountant guy. I'm more of a salesman than manager. And my rent went down 2/3 and my sales went up 2/3.
Yeah.
It seemed like a good
That's
deal.
a good equation.
Sort of crossing.
And that can work for you.
So that worked out really well. And honestly, I was supposed to be over where the cigar shop is now. Originally.
Okay.
And another person sort of got in front of me and did it, and ended up this store became available, and that is again another piece of luck. So all this, my whole life has been sort of lucky, happenstance.
Yeah.
I mean, coming around having Ryan. I mean, there aren't any men's stores that have somebody like Ryan in them.
Right.
And now for 25 years. I mean, and then having the shop here, and then having the ability to buy the store next door when he went down, he retired, and then to have the store next to that, and then to have, now I have 7 grandkids that are 5 and under, so it was cheaper to open a store than my wife continuing to buy stuff online. So that helps.
Just open our own kitchen.
Oh yeah, let's just do this. Ryan, this is really helping me, not everybody. But
how is the kids store doing?
Oh, it's been good.
Is it doing well?
Yeah, it's like everything. We've opened up so you can get to all the stores from our store. You can walk through.
Okay.
And then we have a much, much bigger opening into the kids store.
Okay,
And,
cool.
My kids grew up going to a couple of shops downtown Decatur. In fact, Ryan's aunt used to own a kids store.
Oh, yeah.
Sally and
Was it Jelly Beans and
Fiddlesticks?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And so we've always had sort of some nice kids stores. And then for 20 years we didn't.
Yeah.
And so we just sort of thought it was a good deal, where you have your son here in the business.
Right.
Now with Ryan, my son Brady has been with us for
probably 8 years.
8 years, somewhere in that range. And
maybe 6.
6 years. Okay. And we have Zach
Zach,
who is
Stroud.
honestly fantastic. Just fantastic.
I love that kid.
He's one of the most sort of homespun kids that can wait on somebody from a small town to a hunter to a fisherman to
he just has he's just got a great ability to connect with every single person that walks in the door.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I mean in our locale, we get everybody, right? Like and he just and I think all of our staff does. We have the great ability to just try and find common ground.
Sure.
Whether it's through clothing or just shooting the breeze with somebody, asking them how they're doing or what they're up to or whatever.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience, when you walk in there, if you're not having the greatest day, you walk out of there, you feel like you are now. You know.
Well, we appreciate
and
that.
I mean, you guys take great care of me, and you've always taken great care of Andrew and Matt. And the one thing I love is, and I'm sure he learned this from you, but I mean, your service is second to none.
Thank you.
I got a kid in Boston, right? Andrew. If he calls me and says, "Hey, Dad, I need a new suit and shoes or whatever," I say, "Hey, Ryan, can you handle it?" "Yep, got it covered. No worries." Sends me a bill. He looks like the best looking guy at the place. Same with Matt when he was down at Ole Miss, or if he was at Central Missouri. It's just, I just think that service piece of businesses today is somewhat lost.
It's interesting that we had a guy call who's a professor at Richland. He called today, and he was like, I had a couple people didn't show up, and he was just off the cuff trying to think of something that he could do with his students, and he was asking me about service. And he was like, "Hey, I want you to bring the kids in, and like you can talk to them about that." He's like, "Well, how would you describe it?" And I said, "Well, I just take care of people the way I feel like I would want to be taken care of." And I want to make sure that everybody gets exactly what they need coming through the door, and not more, maybe sometimes a little more, but it'll always help them in the long run. It's like, God, that's, somebody would be like, "God damn it, Spurlock got me again." But then next time they have something to go to,
that's right.
They got everything they need in their closet, and they're going to look sharp and, most likely get compliments, which is, that's what the goal needs to be.
Absolutely.
Well, let's be honest here. When Ryan says, treat other people how you wish you were, which is absolutely true.
Yeah.
I will tell you, knowing your mom and dad.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
In their business before you came into it, really, were the exact same way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys are the exact same way. So when people say that it's lost, it isn't.
Right.
There are stores like this. Yeah. It just, we've gotten very complacent on thinking these big stores, and how can somebody at a big box store who has a whole department to take care of, how can they wait on anybody?
Right. Good point.
They just can't physically do it. In our store, we also have Tim May, who works for us too, who's been there for 2 or 3 years.
Oh, and don't forget about I forgot about the Tux business too. I forgot to mention that.
So we ended up, we have, outside of height, I mean, Tim's 6'7", Brady's 6'4", I'm 6'3", Ryan's coming in at 6'1", and Zach's at 6 foot. So we're a pretty good team on height and stuff now.
I'm 6'2" with shoes on.
We did.
You always have shoes on, right?
We did hire a kid, and he was a Mount Zion kid, and he came in for the summer, and then he sort of stayed on for a while, and he was 5'5".
Yep.
He couldn't get a suit on a guy's back.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't stand
Did you
and
tell
help
him to
him
come
on.
over here and work for Maz?
Well, you got to have a store for small people. That's short people.
Maz, he is the best.
And maybe Maz has that little step thing where he gets on behind. And,
well, he needs another 5'5" guy to go along with him.
So
that's good.
But it's it's always been, and honestly, I had beaten up on Ryan when he was younger on certain things, like being on time or this or that.
Yep.
Well, one was Red Schrock and one was Jonas Mason. They all had that little problem for being high school kids, and we sort of got them out of that. But it's just about treating a job that it is important.
Yeah.
Sometimes retail, people sort of think, well, what's retail? I mean, anybody clothes. I mean, what is that a business? Because I will tell you, we did have a gentleman in once with his son from Milliken. And, here we are super swamped on a Saturday. And he said something to Ryan about...
No, I heard about it in passing.
Yeah, you did. About it not being a profession.
Oh, uh-oh.
Like, when you graduated from Milliken, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And, I called the guy up.
Yeah.
On a Monday. This happened on Saturday. I called the guy up and I told him what I thought about it. Regardless,
Oh, did you?
I like it.
We had to credit we had to credit his credit card back for the purchase that he made on Saturday.
It sort of hit us, that not everybody sort of took it seriously.
I was defending my guy.
Be sensitive.
But you know what? Ryan's got a degree. Brady's, been at U of I and graduated there, and everybody, it doesn't matter.
Right.
If you have good service and you're smart, you can do any job you can do. And I'm not saying college is not important, but to say that at that time, it was just the first time I had heard that.
Yeah. Right.
And we have guys who dress the part. We're going to make people look nice. We're going through homecoming right now, which we used to do with
you bet.
boys.
Yes.
And I think these parents appreciate somebody taking it,
absolutely,
telling them why they should wear something.
Sure.
And then getting compliments. That's how our business is growing.
Sure.
We've been doing these homecomings for a while, and We just think that these guys now are the next generation.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's outstanding.
So
it's a great business model.
Yeah.
Do you guys have clients that have moved from, say, I'm just going to pick ADM because they have, people coming and going, where you're still doing business with them long distance?
Yes.
I figured, yeah. And the other thing I was going to tell you is how much I do not like to shop for Christmas gifts. It is so nice to be able to call you and just say, hey, I need X amount of stuff or dollars spent on Matt and Andrew, and then Christmas morning is like Christmas for me too because I have no idea what's in there. It's awesome. I love that.
That's what I paid for.
Rhino, you nailed it. I love that.
The easy button.
Yeah.
Well, what's still nice is when your mom comes back, she does the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's
she
nice.
likes to have a little say in what's going on.
That's right. Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
that's we've always said this. There's always guys who care. There's guys who don't care.
Right.
But everybody wants to look nice. It's just a matter of how much thought you put into the process. Right?
Yeah. So I'm curious, with all the years in the industry, and we see it with dry cleaning. The world's so much more casual today than it was 5 years ago, let alone 20 years ago.
Yeah. So
How has that impacted the ebb and flow of your business? And I'm just curious.
Yeah, or the
because you
trends,
guys look
the
so
trends.
sharp and so
Well,
there's nothing like a great suit and a nice tie. I mean, there's
I
not.
agree.
But
one of the things that I have attributed a lot of the success and longevity in this business to is George's always wanting to change and aggressively pursuing that change, and not like, if it's me, I'm just kind of sitting back, like, hey, business is pretty good. I think we need to do this, maybe a little different, but the ones who go out of business are the ones who think it's going to come back.
that don't change.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And what's funny is we've now been around long enough that the companies that used to be in business doing what we do are now gone, and we're kind of left. We got Maz over here.
Yep.
There may be another guy up in Bloomington, but for the most part, it's very hard to find somebody that knows what they're doing to sell you a suit. And let's be honest, the internet can sell you anything, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to look good on you.
Right.
And so, we've beefed up our tailored clothing selection for this fall because we feel like we're the only destination for that in our area.
Great.
And we're going to take care of people because that's what we do. And then, of course, we got a lot of great sportswear too.
Yeah.
And the proportion of sportswear versus tailored clothing, suits, sport coats, ties has gotten, the sportswear has gotten greater.
Right.
Tailored clothing's gotten lesser, but we still think it's an important department.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you seeing, though, the trend where people are more casual? I mean, we never used to wear jeans to work. And COVID kind of allowed that to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think COVID, we were obviously closed for 72 days. So, we still did some business, and, we were, people were calling us. We were sending stuff out, UPS and stuff. And then after that, it was pretty much golf stuff.
Gotcha.
Guys could go golf, and that was pretty much it. And we did not sell really a suit or a sport coat that fall.
No.
Is that right?
Right.
Wow.
No, really.
Yeah.
It ended. Now, granted, we had made listen, the clothing has come down to this. We have 3 or 4 suit lines that stock separates that we can just do every size, every fit in. And those are our main deals. Ryan is a phenomenal custom suit guy.
Gotcha. Yep. Excellent.
Phenomenal. And that is the other part of the business.
Gotcha.
It's taking people who don't want just a blue suit, who want something special, and Ryan, and we have all that set up.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
Horse liner.
Yeah,
right.
very nice.
So you can do all the liners,
Classy,
do all this stuff. And so that has changed. Also, that has become a bigger component for us for that. Now, I will say, when you have been casual, there comes a time when you're a clothing guy that you say, enough is enough.
Right.
It's time.
Yeah.
So this year, we've been wearing ties every day.
Okay.
We still have to whip Timmy.
Zach.
Well, Zach never wears
shows
his
up.
tie
He,
in.
he doesn't show up with a tie, but he's got it in his pocket.
And then I think, if we don't notice, does he have to put it on? And so we have just made it, and everybody has bought a couple suits this year. We are going to just represent the best part of the clothing.
Nice.
If somebody wants to come in
That's
and get a
I like it.
Peter Millar golf shirt, so be it. That's fine. We don't care that we want to sell sportswear too,
Right.
Because that's a big part of it. But suits, sport coats, shirts, ties, pocket silks, we are going all out
That's awesome.
for dress.
I like it.
And look how good Ryan looks.
We're ready for it. Both look very sharp.
Because there's been a little competition this year.
Oh, I would
say, and I have always been just.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A little sharper, just on the average.
Yep.
Because I sort of have silver hair now that sort of look maybe with my reading glasses. You think, oh, that guy's
sophisticated.
And Ryan had gone from being bright and colorful to sort of a little drabby in his dress.
Yeah.
No, not his dress. In his selections.
Okay.
And he's kicked back up.
He's kicked it back. He looks
I was waiting for him to land the plane there.
Competition is the best thing for that. Why not be sharper than somebody else?
Agreed.
Right.
So let's do it.
Yes.
And
I like it.
So that's how we're handling homecoming too. You kids need to get sharp. Here's a suit. No, I'm joking. But here's a shirt and a tie and a pair of pants. So
is business up for you guys? Are you guys growing?
We just had to transition to a new point of sale system, and so we're kind of muddling through that.
Okay. Sure.
But business feels very good. I mean, people are coming in. We were very busy. We had a little Peter Millar event in the store over the weekend with our sales rep. He was in town Friday and Saturday, and he likes coming down because he's now been doing this for long enough that he knows our customers too.
Yeah, sure.
Like he knows guys coming in. Hey, Charlie, whatever, and so it's been fun. Business has been good. We can't complain, and it's cool that we now really, if you think about it, we have a department store.
Oh yeah, right.
And we've got a kids department. We've got a women's.
Yes.
We've got a tuxedo rental department. Right. We have a men's store. So it's
I would be remiss to say because on the women's side, that was a store that became available and Ryan bought it with a handshake, and I was on vacation. I was like, "Did you just buy this store?"
He'll be okay.
And then he actually bought the store that we were in that we've been putting her in. So he bought 2 stores while I was on vacation, which was good.
Why not?
So we own those buildings, and
you guys are partners, right?
Yes.
In the brass one originally. I mean,
yes.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And that's been since 2005.
Okay, yes, it's been a while then. Yeah,
and
cool.
I would have been an idiot not to take advantage and try to lock him into staying with us over this whole time. And so on the remiss on side is we sort of didn't really have a plan for the women's. We were going to sort of turn it into a home decor food and stuff. And we did it, and it was fine, but it's evolved into really just a nice gift plus women's store.
Nice.
And my daughter, Kylie, runs that along with Brady's wife, Stacy Ostrander.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah,
that's Dale's wife or daughter. Dale's daughter. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay.
So if you think about it, we're all in this together, and then of course Ryan's wife owns Giggles, which is unlike any other kids.
Yes.
So I brought you the goodies from downstairs. I know you're on
with
the Atkins
bakery.
That's awesome.
Every once in a while.
Okay.
You guys, it is. I mean, it is if you're 7 years old and you walk in there, you're like, jeez, help.
Cool.
I mean, it's chaotic,
unique,
but every gift item you could have, any weird, fun, crazy thing for Halloween, Christmas, you name it. So we're all in the retail business, and
does Gay still work there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's awesome.
72 years of working there.
She's amazing.
Gay, I did not mean that.
I love
Cut
Gay.
that, please.
I love Gay. I love
Gay. She would tell you that too, though.
Sure.
But so when we decided to do the kids store, I mean, I did take Brady and Stacy and Kylie and Ryan, and if they said no, we were not going to do this.
Gotcha.
So we did it, and we have so the girls work on both sides.
Okay.
We have a big 10-foot opening that includes both of those, and it's been a thing. Retail is not easy.
Right.
I
can't imagine. I can't imagine.
You have to go out. And in fact, we went to the men's show in August, up in Chicago. It's the big show. Yeah. And we put together what we buy for spring. So we spend a couple $100.
I bet you do.
Hoping that what we pick is going to be what's right for the next spring.
Resonates.
The girls are doing the same thing.
Sure.
And they are only 5.5 or 6 years into their business. So it takes time.
Oh, yeah.
To do that. And our kids is now 1-year-old. So it just takes time for people to know that you do that and to like it, And so on the kid side is you sell a newborn. Next year you sell them their 1 years.
Right.
Next year you sell them their 2 Ts.
Yeah.
Then their 3 T. Then their 4 T. And
That's
then we
awesome.
move them up into the men's.
Right. No, it's a great business plan.
It is. It's a little long-term plan.
Sure.
And it's been wonderful so far. I would also like to say that during COVID, one of our businesses in town that we knew the guy who owned it, and he was a great guy, and we never really ever tried to step on his toes ever to do any advertising, was in the tuxedo rental business.
Oh, gotcha.
It was Brian Carnahan with Cinos.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, COVID was the knife in the heart to them, and so they just did not make it out of that.
Oh,
and
really?
So
I did not know that.
We had always rented tuxes, but it was always, we never advertised. You know, it was just we're going to do the overflow and our customers and whatever. And so now it is a full-fledged business.
Okay.
Zach and Brady and Tim handle that, and we had 8 weddings 2 weekends ago.
Yeah.
We had 4 this last week. We have 4 this week, and so
it's
where
a lot.
Where do you put all the inventory? Like when you're, do you have
rental?
It's rental.
It is.
It's rental. So every Tuesday they bring them up.
Yep.
Every Monday, Tuesday they come pick them up.
And where do you keep them? Downstairs?
It's in Trenton.
No, but where do you put when they get all dropped off? You put them downstairs. Oh, upstairs.
In the mezzanine.
Because you have space up there. Yeah,
above the ladies' store.
We were trying to work it on the women's side, and it just made it hard for a girl to be upstairs, and downstairs, and over. And so,
is that Jim's former
that's Jim's former wear.
They used to have the dry cleaning side of the business, CRDN.
Oh, yeah.
They were the big garment
gotcha.
restoration company that sold out.
Yeah.
So
that's one of their big. That's also a huge part of their business is the dry cleaning business because if they're renting that stuff, they got the plant. As soon as it gets back there, it goes in there, gets cleaned and pressed, and ready to
and
go
you guys
again,
could tell stories about clothes coming into your place and how they look, and these weddings are
no
some
different.
Of them are, you don't know where they've been. So so that has been another component to the business, and that's another. We're doing homecomings, and obviously we're renting prom tuxes, so that is high school kid age, and now we're doing the weddings, and this is 20s to 30s, it could be up, but generally in that range. And so, now they've come in and had some professional people help them.
That's awesome.
Plan their weddings.
Yep.
And, we just get a lot of thank yous back from people. Thank you. It was a wonderful wedding. Everything looked great. Everybody looked super. And
next time I need a suit, I'll be in.
And
into the next generation.
That's how it is.
And it's got to be a rewarding job and career for you guys. Wouldn't you say that? Helping families and the things that I know how many times I've called you or texted you, John, like, hey, dog, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
you are the man. You're the guy.
I love it.
You know what I mean? Seriously.
I love being somebody's person.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to have a guy for stuff, right? I like being their clothing guy.
That's awesome.
Somebody texted me last night.
Are you a Sherpa?
Well, in some cases I can't. I am 100% a Sherpa on clothes for sure.
Through the clothing Himalayas. Yes, this is us. And other things.
He's a member guest Sherpa. So you do as I do, and then we'll have the climb of the century.
In the past, I've needed my own Sherpa, but now I've become a Sherpa. So I guess that's all.
You graduated.
And I think in life, it's something is that when you work for money, you're only thinking about making money.
Right.
It's when you do it because you love to do it.
Right.
And as you said, having people thank you.
Yeah.
That's when it's not a job anymore.
Right.
That's why you go in at 7:30 every morning, because it's the best place in the world to be. You like going in and moving stuff around and making it look nice.
Just looked over at Chris. He was like, "Do you feel that way when you come into work every day?
I know.
Are you sure? Do you love it?
Go ahead and just tell him. We queued that up for you. Just tell him how great it is, how great I am.
So since I don't usually show up till 9:30 or 10, does that mean I can't stand it?
Well, I wasn't your Sherpa, I guess, the day
Chris,
before.
You're working till late at night, too. So that's the thing. So.
Well, I would tell you that
it is the best place to be. Absolutely.
We have a heck of a lot of fun, I can tell you that. But my mom, they live in Florida in the winters, and then in Michigan in the summer. And the first place they come to when they come back here is Kreckles.
Yep.
And then the second place is Brasshorn. Because my mom and dad, they love Kreckles.
Every time I go to Decatur, Matt, would you stop and get me Kreckles on the way back?
It's not the same as Springfield, apparently. The Kreckles.
Really?
Here, that's according to Matt. The Kreckles.
The connoisseur.
Yeah, connoisseur of Kreckles.
Well, it is kind of fun to have that place be a destination for your buddies that you grew up with, and they would come back. And I have several people who say, like, when they're coming back to town, that's the first place they stop.
That's like the highlight.
Kreckles is last on their list.
Right.
Not last, but we're first on their
Monocle's
list.
maybe third.
Monocle's
maybe third.
Monocle's,
But my sister, my wife's got 3 sisters, and they're all married, and you know, whenever we get together, it's always like it's the tour of Decatur eating.
Sure. Yep.
And you know, they come back to town, and you put on 5 to 10.
Yeah, easy,
because it's La Gondola, it's Krekel's, it's Monocle's, it's all these places that everybody remembers and loved, and and fortunately, they're still doing business and still thriving. So.
Well, you probably have a lot of people that come back just to say hello and check in when they're traveling in from out of town. I'm sure. Yeah.
You know, to be, you know, I'm 65 now, so I've been, you know, the store is now 33 years old, and I guess I've been for another 12. You know, it seems impossible, but the math sometimes doesn't add. I try to keep it younger, but so a lot of my customers that I grew up with have retired.
Yep.
You know, now their kids are shopping, and their kids are shopping.
Right.
So we have this sort of maybe 3 or 4 generation deal in there. And, you know, I'm not saying that I'm at the front door saying hi to people now as much.
Right.
But you know what? Brady and Zach and Tim and Ryan, these are their customers now.
That's right.
You know, they have made customers. They have made people who come back and ask for them.
Right.
It used to be, is George here? Is George here?
Right.
Is George here? You know, and now is Ryan here? Is Brady here? Is Zach here? And that makes me the happiest.
Absolutely. That's awesome. How cool is it to work with your son and your daughter?
You know what? It's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
that's awesome.
Fortunately, they work harder than anybody. You know, everybody works the same hard in there. I can't say that, you know. But the nice thing for me is it's like being home. You know, I don't want to go anyplace else. You know, people say, well, you're going to go to Florida. Now, listen, old retailers hang around a long time.
Right.
You know, maybe little saliva coming down.
They're like lawyers, like Cobb. Cobb's still billing hours for crying out loud.
Can't leave.
Cobb just wants to put a new suit on every day, probably.
You know, I'm just glad. Cobby has been working on a will for Carol and I for 5 years, and I said,
"You'll never see
thanks." No, finally got it done. I said, "Thanks." I held on this long. I mean, just in case.
Give it to Garwood.
You
He'll
know,
take care
I know
of you.
Garwood is fantastic guy. So, but it's sort of like handing the torch down to these guys, but still not leaving. You know, still enjoying it. I love the merchandise. You know, and I like to get new stuff and put it out and have it look nice. And so that still is my biggest contribution to the deal. And but it's just you just don't realize how it is when you have Ryan in the store.
Oh yeah,
and Brady in the store, and these guys who. Listen, I had a couple new knees this year, you know, so I had replacements. So February, had one in May. My knees were shot.
Yeah,
you're getting around better now.
Yeah,
I'm you know,
you're doing okay.
Yeah,
was the rehab tough?
It's the rehab is not hard.
Yeah,
it's just you've got to be very patient coming back. You know, I can work all day now.
Yeah, good.
Can I golf? No,
he's full of metal. Chris's knees.
Shoulder. We got Tink too over
here. We
call
him Tink because
I got knees.
First time I traveled with him when he hired on, we went to the airport and I'm like, they started scanning him with that deal. I mean, he had it from his head down to his ankles. I'm like, you have anything that does not have metal in it? You know?
Are you a walking bomb, sir?
No, I'm not much.
So what was weird was I was off 3 weeks and then off 3 weeks and really off 6 weeks and off 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, I was trying to come in, you know, and it hurts you, but business was better without me, you know. So these guys killed it while I was gone and handled it.
That's got to make you feel really good, though.
Yeah, it was good. You know, so you just don't have that worry. And that is why our store has probably the greatest chance of continuing on far past this because we have good people.
Yeah.
You know, there would have been a time if Ryan would have never showed. And Brady would have never gotten transferred back because of Andy Cave back to Decatur with Soy Capital. And we would have never bought this store. You know, there's a lot of ifs.
Yeah.
And I would have then gone, I guess I retire.
Yeah.
The store closes.
Yeah, do I close it? Do I
What a sad deal, you know?
Right.
We just have guys who come back and just say your store is the best store.
Yeah.
And I'm not being I'm trying to be modest about it, but it is. We have sold a lot of merchandise over the years, and it's a lot. I mean, it's some phenomenal numbers.
Yes.
And we don't even think about it. We just sort of sell.
That's terrific.
And we try to always be on the cusp of the newest thing. And Brad, I hate saying it, we hurt your business for a little bit. You remember the mizzen and main?
Yeah.
His boys were cut for those mizzen and mains, and those were the first washable shirts.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We're like, oh, no, we just sold those boys those shirts. It says go dry clean. Brad's going to be pissed.
We're used to that. We're used to that, yeah.
It was the start of a deal for trim fit microfiber stuff that was going to happen whether we bought it or we didn't.
Yeah.
We knew we had to have it. Yeah. So,
are you guys always looking for new name brand clothes when you're going to to market?
Generally, when we go to market, we know who we're not going to go back to.
Okay.
It's like based on, we gave them a chance, didn't work.
Gotcha.
And you're always looking for something new, but also whittling down and trying to make sure that you have a good representation of the good lines.
Gotcha.
And not just kind of, thinning and the smaller lines out, where you'd only buy 4 shirts from it. And, now we feel like we need to be more important to our vendors, and they need to be more important to us, right? So it's good to have an eye open for new stuff always, because people ask you what's new.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like just in passing a conversation.
First things they say walking in the door, right?
Right. Yeah. So, we're always trying to find new stuff, but I think it was cool that George did get his knee replaced this year, right? Because we've always said it's our business, and you guys are business owners, right? And you understand it's hard to work on your business when you're in your business.
Correct. That's right.
And George was not in the business, so he was able to kind of work on the business. And that's like if you're out on a job and you guys are helping the crew because you're short staffed, right?
Right.
You're not running the P&Ls. You're not trying to figure that stuff out.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
So that's where I think it's helped for George now to take this next step in his career or phase or whatever you want to call it of life. And, he's been
the little bigger picture.
He's been a pre-planner.
Right.
Give us all the ammunition to say, hey, boys, you're doing good. This is where we need to focus. Keep on doing what you're doing. And,
that's wise of. I agree. Yeah. That's how it is here with our staff and the way things have been, particularly since Chris has come on board. It's allowed me to do some creative thinking and saying, what about this? What about that?
Right.
I agree 100%. So, yeah.
It scares me that we're in the water house here, though.
Yeah. I know.
I just sort of feel like it's going to be flooded when we go downstairs or something. I mean, it doesn't come to this roof.
We can dry it.
We can dry. Yeah. I can't thank you guys enough for coming on.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you.
You guys are classy dudes,
Thank
and
you.
you always look sharp, and you have always helped make our family look amazing. So, and the service is second to none.
Well, thanks for thinking of us and having us on.
And I consider you guys very good friends, which I love.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So,
and we'll have Maz on so he can poke fun back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, well.
The first call we'll
I
get
guess
from
that wasn't
this,
you, it was me.
Yeah. I'm not saying anything about him.
But every town should have a men's store.
Absolutely.
And I just
when you guys are good friends with him, I mean,
yes.
So, yeah.
Well,
we're getting ready to
You golf together, don't you, Sean?
Oh, yeah. You're trying.
He's got a fantastic short game. It's
he
the
does.
best.
Yes.
Are you taking him somewhere golfing? Or?
We're going golfing next month. Yeah, we're going to go to Pine Needles and Mid Pines with the Peter Millard guys.
cool.
And
Nice.
so
Nice.
Maz and I are going to travel together and
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
have some good times together
I
like
played
we
with
always
him earlier
do.
this year. I mean, he hits the ball, 220, 230 down the middle, and it never makes bogeys or doubles. Shot 75.
Very silky.
Yeah, very silky. Yeah, no question. So, well, good deal. Thank you, fellas.
You guys,
Thank you
thanks
very
much.
much. Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Continued success for you boys.
Same to you.
Right.
Thank you.